Hare Krishna, this is Madhavananda Das, your spiritual guide and well-wisher. We are having this special series on Kaveri, VAIBHAVAM, the glories of the divine river, Mother Kaveri. Before we begin today's session, I shall chant a few prayers. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, I would like to welcome all the viewers again for this special series on Kaveri, VAIBHAVAM, where we have been hearing and trying to understand the wonderful and fascinating glories of river Kaveri, one of the most sacred and holiest among the rivers flowing in the sacred tract of Bharatavarsha. It is explained in all the Vedic scriptures that there are, among all the holy rivers, there are 7 most sacred and holy rivers, which are Gange Yamune Chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmada Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sannidhim Kuru. And one among these 7 sacred holy rivers is river Kaveri. We have already heard about the wonderful divine origin of river Kaveri as explained in the various Vedic scriptures, including the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, the 18 Mahapuranas, as well as in Mahabharata and Ramayana. Kaveri is a very special river, and we have also heard about the beautiful and wonderful prayers which are recorded in the Vedic scriptures by the great saintly personalities in glorification of river Kaveri. Today we shall undertake a wonderful journey from the beginning of the river Kaveri, and as it traverses along in its flow, there are many important sacred and very ancient holy places located on the banks of river Kaveri. It is mentioned many times in the Vedic scriptures that the banks of the river Kaveri are the most suitable residence for transcendentalists, spiritualists and the saintly people. There are many references of these very important holy places located on the banks of the river Kaveri. So let us begin this wonderful journey, starting from the birthplace, the origin of river Kaveri, which is located at Talakaveri in the Kodagu district of the Indian state of Karnataka. Talakaveri is the origin, the birthplace of river Kaveri. It is located in the Sahyadri Parvata, in the Sahyadri mountain range, and specifically the origin of Kaveri, Talakaveri, is located on the slopes of the Brahmagiri Parvata, the Brahmagiri mountain. And here in Talakaveri, which is located about 1276 meters above sea level, or approximately 4000 feet above sea level, is the very important temple of Kaveri Amma or Mother Kaveri. There are also temples dedicated to Agasthyeshwara and Ganesha. In the Ganesha temple is also a very ancient Ashwatha Vriksha or a banyan tree. This banyan tree is very sacred, very ancient, and it is supposed to be the place where the Trimurti, that is Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, had given their divine darshan to Agastya Maharshi. Then there is the Brahma Kunda, the exact spot where river Kaveri has its origin. Every year on the day of Kaveri Tirthodbhava, which is on the day of Tula Sankramana, the beginning of the Tula Masa, there is Kaveri Tirthodbhava, wherein from this Brahma Kunda, the river Kaveri emerges as a spring, and it is a divine sight to behold and to believe in the divine glories of river Kaveri. Here in Talakaveri is also located, there are steps going up to the Brahmagiri hill, and one can have a very beautiful view of the Sahyadri Parvata, the Sahyadri mountain range from the Brahmagiri hill. River Kaveri begins from the Brahmakunda at Talakaveri but flows underground for a distance of 8 kilometers and then re-emerges at a place called Bhagamandala. Bhagamandala is also known as the Bhaganda Rishi Kshetra, the place where Bhaganda Rishi performed tapasya. It is also the Triveni Sangama, the confluence of the three rivers of Kaveri, Sudhajyoti and Kanaka, which are also known locally as Sujyoti and Kannike. This Triveni Sangam is located in Bhagamandala, and also in Bhagamandala is the very ancient and important temple of Bhagandeshwara. This temple of Lord Shiva is supposed to be the origin of river Kaveri, just like river Ganga emerges from the matted locks of Lord Shiva. Likewise, it is understood that Kaveri emerges from the matted locks of Bhagandeshwara of Bhagamandala. Moving further ahead, there is a place known as Kudige in Kodagu district. A small village called Kudige, and nearby is the Sangam of river Kaveri with one of its major tributaries by name Harangi. So there is the Harangi and Kaveri Sangama near Kudige in Somavarapet Taluk of Kodagu district. The Harangi flows for about 50 kilometers, and there is a huge Harangi reservoir or dam, and after that is the Sangam or the confluence of Harangi river with Kaveri. Further in Kodagu district itself, there is a place called Kanive, and at Kanive is Ramalingeshwara temple and also a very beautiful hanging bridge across the river Kaveri. River Kaveri, after traversing through the Kodagu district in Karnataka, then enters the Hasan district before coming to the Mysore and Mandya districts of Karnataka. So in Hasan district it enters, and then there is a place called Konanuru. In Konanuru there is a temple of Bhavani Shankara as well as Venkata Ramana Swami, that is Balaji temple, and there is also a very beautiful hanging bridge again across river Kaveri, which is the second longest hanging bridge across river Kaveri. This is located in Konanuru. Further ahead, there is a very important holy place by name Ramanathapura. Ramanathapura is also known as Dakshina Kashi or the Kashi of the South, and there are many ancient and very important sacred temples located in Ramanathapura. One of them is the Prasanna Shri Subramanya temple, which is maintained by the Madhva Matha of Samputa Narasimha. There is also the temple of Rameshwara Lakshmaneshwara, Agasthyeshwara, and the Pattabhirama temple. There is also a very beautiful temple of Lakshmi Narasimha. There is Vahni Pushkarini, and there is a Go Garbha Shila. There is a very beautiful carving of the cow, and devotees pass underneath the cow, and in this way are purified of all their sinful reactions. So this is the holy place of Ramanathapura, and the Kaveri river continues to flow and comes to a very enchanting place called Chunchanakatte. Chunchanakatte, there is Kaveri falls into, there is a very beautiful waterfalls at Chunchanakatte, and this is also a place which had been visited by the Supreme Lord Sri Ramachandra. And there is also the place where Sita Mata took her bath in river Kaveri, where even till today there are different streams in the waterfalls which have sandalwood water, turmeric water, which had manifested to serve Mother Sita. So at Chunchanakatte there is also the very ancient Kodandarama temple located right next to the Chunchanakatte waterfalls. Further ahead, there is a very nice place called Saligrama. Saligrama village is located about 5 kilometers away from the banks of river Kaveri, but it is a very important sacred place. It is the place where the great pure devotee and Acharya Sripada Ramanujacharya, he left from Tamil Nadu from Srirangam and arrived to Karnataka first at this place called Saligrama, where he was received very honorably by the local tribals, and the local people, the common people, were averse to Ramanujacharya. They all conspired with a plan to somehow do some harm to Ramanujacharya. So at that time, Ramanujacharya ordered the head of the local tribals who had become his disciples, and their leader was Mudaliyandan Swami, and he asked Mudaliyandan Swami to place his feet in the drinking water pond, which was later named by Ramanujacharya as Saligrama. So at Saligrama, just by taking the Charanamrita, the water that had washed the lotus feet of Sripada Ramanujacharya, the minds of all the evildoers of the village completely transformed, and they all surrendered at the lotus feet of Ramanujacharya and became his disciples. So that particular lake is known as Sri Ramanuja Sripada Tirtha. There is also the Yoga Narasimha temple at Saligrama. As the Kaveri flows further ahead, there is another, the second of the Triveni Sangamas of river Kaveri, and here is the Triveni Sangama of Kaveri, Hemavati and Lakshmana Tirtha. At that exact spot of the confluence of these three holy rivers is located the Triveni Sangameshwara temple. This is in the K.R. Pet Taluk of Mysore district, and now Kaveri has got a very, very gigantic dam, that is the KRS dam, and just before the KRS dam is also located the village of Kallahalli, where there is a very ancient temple of Bhuvarahanatha temple, which was established by Gautama Rishi in the days of yore. This is a very special and a very beautiful temple. The deity of Lord Varaha, the Supreme Lord in his incarnation as Varahadeva, is a gigantic 14 feet high deity, and it is just before this Triveni Sangama of Kaveri, Hemavati and Lakshmana Tirtha rivers. Moving further, just near the KRS dam is a small village called Kannambadi, and there was an ancient temple of Venugopala Swami of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. And when this dam was built, this temple got submerged of Venugopala, and it was relocated to a different location called Hosa Kannambadi. But even now, when there is when the water level recedes, at that time the ancient temple of Venugopala is still visible. After the KRS dam, which is the Krishna Rajasagara dam, there is the very beautiful Balamuri and Yadamuri waterfalls in river Kaveri, and also a very beautiful Ganesha temple. A little ahead is the Srinivasa Kshetra, where there is a Srinivasa and Narasimha temple. And as the Kaveri flows a little more, it comes to the very, very important place, holy place called Srirangapattana. Actually, the river Kaveri prayed to the Supreme Lord Sriman Narayana, Lord Sri Vishnu, and obtained the boon of becoming the garland of Lord Vishnu in his form as Ranganatha. So there are 3 Ranga Kshetras. Some also say that there are Pancha Ranga Kshetras, but the 3 are the most important, which are known as the Adi Ranga Kshetra, the Madhya Ranga Kshetra and the Antya Ranga Kshetra, which is the first Ranga Kshetra, and the second, that is Madhya, and the final is called the Antya Ranga Kshetra. And all these 3 very sacred and important abodes of Lord Ranganatha are very beautifully located in islands formed by the river Kaveri. The Kaveri breaks into 2 branches, divides itself into 2 branches, becomes like a garland, and again joins and continues its flow ahead. And on these islands of river Kaveri are located these very important Ranganatha temples. So the Adi Ranga Kshetra, the first Ranganatha, is Srirangapattana, where there is the very beautiful and important temple of Ranganatha Swami, who had become Pratyaksha, who had manifested to the great sage Gautama Rishi. Just before Srirangapattana is also the Paschima Vahini, another tributary which joins the river Kaveri, and Paschima Vahini also on its banks in Srirangapattana has got the Venugopala Swami temple, and its banks are considered to be very sacred for the performance of the Antyeshti Karyas of the Asthi Visarjana, for the final rites of the departed ancestors are performed at Paschima Vahini. Further ahead, just close to Srirangapattana is a small village by name Kiranguru, and this Kiranguru, there is a temple of Lord Rama, which marks the location, the spot of the birthplace of a very great devotee by name Ananta Alvar. Ananta Alvar is a great pure devotee who dedicated his life completely to the service of Lord Venkateshwara in Tirupati by the order of his spiritual master Sripada Ramanujacharya. And there is a very beautiful pastime between Ananta Alvar and Lord Venkateshwara, wherein Lord Venkateshwara had disguised himself and approached Ananta Alvar, and in a playful sport, Ananta Alvar actually hit Lord Venkateshwara in disguise upon his chin, and even today Lord Venkateshwara bears that mark. So Kiranguru is the birthplace of this great devotee Ananta Alvar, and there is also a temple of Kodandarama located here. Further ahead in the island of Srirangapatna is also located a very famous temple of Durga Devi known as Nimishamba. So the Nimishamba temple is there, and just on the side of Kaveri river, just a few kilometers away, is a very beautiful place called Karighatta. It is a small hillock on atop which is located a very ancient temple of Venkateshwara or Srinivasa, who had manifested himself to Bhrigu Maharshi. There is a tributary of the Kaveri by name Lokapavani that flows on the foothills of Karighatta. A little ahead is the Triveni Sangama of Kaveri, Lokapavani and Hemavati river, which is also known as the Sangama Kshetra, and the Kaveri flows further and comes to a small town by name Bannur. Bannur is also mentioned in the Ramayana as Vahnipura and had been visited by the Supreme Lord Sri Ramachandra. There is a very ancient temple of Lord Rama at Bannur. Bannur is also the birthplace of one of the greatest acharyas of the modern world, of the medieval world, by name Vyasatirtha. Vyasatirtha is the spiritual master of great devotees like Purandaradasa, Kanakadasa. Vyasatirtha appeared very mystically by the blessings of another acharya by name Brahmanyatirtha. So at the birthplace of Vyasatirtha is located the Janamanjaneya Swami temple. A little ahead, just about 6 kilometers ahead of Bannur, is the very famous place called Somanathapura, which has got the world famous temple of Channakeshava. It is a fine example of the pinnacle of the Hoysala style of architecture. So this is a very enchanting and very intricately carved temple, the Channakeshava temple at Somanathapura. And as the Kaveri flows a little ahead, it comes to a place called Vyasarajapura, where there is a very ancient Vyasaraja Matha, and it also comes to a village called Sosale, which is the headquarters, the original place of the Sosale Vyasaraja Matha. There is also a temple of Srinivasa located in Sosale and in a village called Sri Rangarajapura. The Kaveri flows a further little ahead, just about 2 kilometers after Sosale, is the very important Triveni Sangama, the fourth Triveni Sangama in the flow of river Kaveri, the place known as T. Narasipura or Tiruma Kudalu Narasipura, where there is the confluence of Kaveri, Kapila and the Guptagamini Sphatika Sarovara. The exact location of the Triveni Sangama is marked by a pillar with a Nandi, and at T. Narsipura is the very ancient and important temple of Gunja Lakshmi Narasimha temple, where Lord Narasimha holds a gunjige, a small measure of weight, to indicate its sanctity, the sanctity of T. Narasipura, to even surpass the sanctity of Kashi or Varanasi. At T. Narasipura is also the ancient temple of Agasthyeshwara, where the Shivalinga had been is broken on the top by Hanuman, and there is the constant flow of Ganga water in the Shivalinga of Agasthyeshwara. There is also a very ancient Brahma Ashwatha and also the Hanumadeshwara temple, as well as the Rudra Pada located in T. Narasipura. So flowing further from Tirumakudalu Narasipura, Kaveri comes to a small village by name Krishnapura, where there is a temple of Santana Gopala Krishna temple, and further it comes to a village called Hemmige. In Hemmige there is the Varadaraja Swami temple, and then after that Kaveri comes to a very ancient and a very important sacred holy place by name Talakadu. Talakadu has been mentioned in the Puranas as the Gajaranya Kshetra, and there is the very, very beautiful and very important temple of Kirti Narayana, which is one among the Pancha Narayanas established by Sripada Ramanujacharya. Talakadu also has got the Pancha Shiva Kshetras, the Pataleshwara, Vaidyanatheshwara, Maraleshwara, and another two are in Mudukutare nearby. Talakadu or Gajaranya Kshetra is a very, very special place because it is also mentioned. The place Talakadu has got a very far-reaching influence. It is also mentioned in the Chronicles of Bali. The Chronicles of Bali are recorded in Lontar in palm leaf inscriptions, and there is a place called Guha Gaja near Ubud in Bali, and that is in Indonesia. And here in Guha Gaja there is a cave, and this cave contains the temple of Ganesha as well as the Trimurti Shivalingas of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. It was supposed to have been used by Agastya Maharshi, who came from Gajaranya Kshetra in Talakadu. This is recorded in the palm leaf inscriptions in Bali. From Talakadu, Kaveri further flows and comes to a place called Satyagala. In Satyagala there is an ancient Varadaraja Swami temple, and it was also the headquarters of the great Acharya by name Vedanta Deshikar. From Satyagala, very nearby is the second Ranga Kshetra, that is the Madhya Ranga in the flow of river Kaveri, known as the Shivana Samudram, and again the Kaveri divides itself and forms a very beautiful island, and there is the very important temple of Ranganatha, the second Ranganatha temple in the flow of river Kaveri. Nearby in Shivana Samudra is also the very beautiful waterfalls of Gaganachukki and Bharachukki waterfalls. So there is also, as the Kaveri flows further ahead, there is the Sangama, the confluence of the river Shimsha. Shimsha river comes and joins river Kaveri, and further ahead there is the place by name Muttatti, where there is a very ancient temple of Anjaneya of Hanuman, and further ahead there is the Sangam of the river Arkavati. Arkavati comes and joins river Kaveri, and as the Kaveri flows a little more ahead comes a place by name Mekedatu. In Kannada, Meke means a sheep or a goat, and Datu means to cross over. So here the Kaveri becomes so small in width that at one particular point it is so narrow that even a Meke, that is even a sheep, can just jump and cross over, and therefore this specific name is given at this place called Mekedatu. And after Mekedatu, just a little ahead, river Kaveri leaves the state of Karnataka and now enters the state of Tamil Nadu, and here at the border of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu are located some of the most beautiful waterfalls in the entire country, They are known as the Hogeneckal waterfalls. In Kannada, Hoge means smoke. So the waterfalls are so they fall with such great force that there is always spray of hoge or smoke enveloping the entire area. So these are very, very beautiful and enchanting waterfalls as the Kaveri enters Tamil Nadu from Karnataka. So this is located in the border region of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. So in this way, Kaveri flows, and there are these many wonderful places located on its banks. Today we have covered in our journey of river Kaveri the holy places of Kaveri located in the state of Karnataka, and we shall continue tomorrow exploring and visiting the very beautiful and important holy places on the banks of river Kaveri in the state of Tamil Nadu. So please do like and share these videos. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please do join us for the continuation of Kaveri VAIBHAVAM, the glories of river Kaveri. Thank you very much. Kaveri Maiya ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai. Hare Krishna.